Why hello there, and welcome back to Some Weirdo on the Internet reviews obscure role-playing games, and the third installment of my 5 one-page RPG reviews series. This time I will be looking at 5 games that caught my attention from the 2021 One-Page RPG Jam. Because one-page games don't take that much time or effort, so they end up being a pretty good excuse for designers to just try out wacky ideas that might not really have been worth exploring otherwise. For example, my game from the 2021 One-Page RPG Jam, Dance Dance Macabre, is a post-apocalyptic game where rival gangs of undead settle disputes with dance battles, which I made primarily because I just wanted to see if I could make a game with dedicated mechanics for dance battles. So let's get into this and, I'll put them in alphabetical order this time. Starting with Amoebuds, an amorphous and asexual amoeba adventure. That's a good alliteration right there. Which is a game about an amoeba high school, and it is pretty simple overall, but has some interesting mechanics like letting two amoebae, whatever, temporarily combine into one amoeba with the combined abilities of both. So a fun little quirky idea that did have some thought put into it, but they don't really go into what you should do in the game, and also never actually explain how the base mechanics work. Yeah, you can infer them from what is provided, but I'm kind of a stickler for actually explaining the rules. And it is well put together and looks pretty cute. And next up, The Bear Comes at Night, which is a solo game about surviving repeated nighttime bear attacks. It is basically just a few tables for resolving bear-human interactions, and while not really stated as being one, it could reasonably be used as a journaling game. So, honestly, just kind of average across the board. It is a game about surviving bear attacks. And next, Of Mice and Men, and Murder, which is a game about a group of mice taking vengeance on a human. So it is a pretty cool idea having a group of mice who have to work together to take down a significantly larger target. The rules are pretty basic, but provide a bit more than you'd expect from a one-page game, although personally I would have liked to have seen a bit more on the practicalities of fighting such a significantly larger opponent. And it looks fine. Obviously, priority was given to fitting all the content on the page rather than aesthetics. Which brings us to Overly Complex Medieval Fantasy RPG, which isn't really so much a game as it is a prompt to do something silly. Basically, the idea is you tell yourself a story, and whenever the character needs to do something, you need to come up with an overly complex mechanic for it. For example, if you wanted to draw your sword, you could say that you needed to roll a number of d8s equal to the manual dexterity score of your sword arm -1 for each 1/7 stone of equipment carried over your medium encumbrance tolerance, then count the number of dice that came up equal to or less than your sword's speed value, which is found by referencing the sword's length and width on table 14, then comparing that result to the sword's weight on table 16. Then take that value and look it up on the sword draw time matrix to determine the number of seconds it takes to draw your sword. So something like that. So an idea that, while it happens to speak to my very specific interests, I do understand probably doesn't have much appeal to people who aren't fascinated by stupidly complex role-playing games. And, it doesn't really have any rules, it just kind of says to do that thing, but there's also not much rules that could have been done, and it looks, whatever. And finally, Lucky Days Senior Bingo. So this is a game about seniors in an assisted living facility on bingo night. But the part of it that's actually interesting is that it uses a roll under percentile system with the addition of bingo cards. So whenever a number on someone's card is rolled, something good happens for their character, and then something even better happens if they get an entire line. So a big ol' +1 for the concept here. The whole bingo card thing is a really cool idea, but that's really all there is to this game. It gives you a setup and this one interesting mechanic, but nothing really to do with them. and it does have something of a graphic design is my passion look to it. And there we have it, 5 more one-page RPGs of varying qualities and levels of gameness. There will be links to all the games in the description, as well as my game, Dance Dance Macabre, provided I remember to put them there. And thank you for watching, with extra special thanks to my Fightin' Flail Snails, Samuel Gorski, and Randy Mulholland. If you'd like to be cool like them, you can check out my Patreon, where you can get early access to videos and fun stuff that I make for the Patreon. And if you don't want to do that, that's fine too. You can still hit all the lovely buttons. You can hit like, you can hit subscribe, you can check out these other videos that either myself or YouTube have selected for you, which I am sure are lovely videos that you will also enjoy. And I will see you next time.